And we're live for another 5 Minute Friday with Startup TNT. Steven brought us in here with the theme song because we couldn't get it going, but that's all right. We just roll with the punches. It's live here at Startup TNT on 5 Minute Fridays. And I'm so pleased to be here with the winner of last year's Clean Tech Summit and a fantastic founder, one of the top soil scientists in the world, Steven Siciliano, co-founder and CEO of Environmental Material Science. How you doing, Steven?
I'm doing good, Jesse. Thanks for making time to chat with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for making time. You're the busy entrepreneur. You built this awesome company, EMS. Why don't you just tell us a little bit more about what you do?
Yeah, so at EMS, we help advance soil management through data, insight, and innovative technology. And our team has been hard at work building the great company. It's not just, of course, me. I'm one small part of the cog. We use autonomous sensors and unique sort of solar-powered pumps to help make soil healthier and happier, which normally helps companies clean up contaminants if they have some, as well as just basically restore soil health.
Awesome. And how many sites have you now managed to put through this remediation process?
Oh, I think we're up to about 30 sites, and we've saved our customers $2.5 million, as well as avoiding about 2.7 megatons of CO2 emissions and 400,000 cubic meters of water. So we're well on the way. We're kind of really living that clean tech dream where we're saving our customers money as well as reducing greenhouse gases and helping keeping the water cleaner.
Wow, those are so many positive impacts coming off of your work, and you're only just getting started. You just raised a seed round starting off with the Clean Tech Summit last year. So we actually met just about a year ago, I'd say, is when we first got to really get to know each other. And what made you decide to come into that Clean Tech Summit? Where were you at a year ago? Why don't we take us back?
Well, I think one of the really big advantages of the TNT process is it introduces you to a large community of entrepreneurs and angel investors. And at the time, we had just started approaching investors in December for seed round. We met some excellent people such as Wanda from Westcap, but other than some unique individuals, we were finding it a bit lonely and barren out there. And TNT really introduced us to the whole community, because unless you come out of that community, we weren't aware there was such an active group. So the Clean Tech Summit provided, because I think there was about 50 companies in that, and so we got to see lots of that, and also we got to see a lot of investors. And I'm happy to report that one of those early people we met has just recently agreed to join our board of directors as an independent director, and that's an amazing addition to our leadership team. So participation in that Clean Tech Summit, not only, well, we were lucky enough to win, something I'm still frankly a little surprised at because so many other good companies were there, but also the fact that, we got, I don't want to say access to capital because that sounds very exploitive, but you meet a whole bunch of people, and then you find people who really have skill sets that are really essential for small startups to help out. And I think one of the most important things, a lot of those people we met were happy to provide advice for free, which for those of you in the startup world, you'll know there's lots of people happy to provide advice and they'll all want a small cut, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it really adds up. So yeah, no, that was really a great way to kickstart our seed round. And that was really actually very instrumental.
Amazing. Love to hear that. You've kind of answered a whole bunch of the questions I was going to follow up with. What were the benefits? And there's so many there. You mentioned you got a new board member. There actually, there was almost 50 companies and just shy of 40 investors, 39 investors that participated in the process. And you got to come to Calgary and see most of them live in person there. It was a great event, and I'm personally, as the Saskatchewan lead, I was super excited to see a Saskatchewan company take off the win. So congratulations to you in that. If you're since then, you actually managed to continue that race, and you recently closed. Why don't you just give a quick summary of how that all went?
Well, I think one of the things is that investors often follow money. So by TNT putting money where their mouth is and saying, we think this is a winner, it made it easier for us to have further conversations with private equity as well as family offices here in Saskatoon and across the prairies. And that was really essential. There are benefits to going outside of the prairie ecosystem, but there's huge benefits to being inside the prairie ecosystem, because for our particular company, because we do soil science, and Saskatchewan has the majority of arable farmland in Canada. Then when you tag that with Alberta, we're really the agricultural powerhouse. Having offices and PE groups that are immersed in the Alberta, Saskatchewan ecosystems, both for resource and agriculture, was really essential to us, and turns out to be some of the perfect partners. So that has been very handy. And one good example there is the local RBC office here in Saskatoon with Ashley Looms and Kevin. They really understand the challenges that Saskatchewan companies face, both in procurement and deployment and cash management, and they have been so helpful to us. And that I do want to say that whole thing has been instrumental to our success so far. Those people with deep knowledge of our local ecosystem. I know that people often want startup companies to go global quickly, but there's big benefits to growing local, slowly making sure everything's working right before you try to sell somewhere where, as a soil scientist, maybe I don't know the soils, whereas here it's much easier. So that has been a huge boon for us.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons why we've got leads in multiple cities with Startup TNT. It's all about having that local connection, building those relationships, not just with other investors, but with everybody else. Our friends over at RBC, as you just mentioned, we got friends at BDC, we've got people that can help out. You finding new office space over at CBRE. All those things are all about those local relationships, and it becomes so much more than just the investment dollars. In fact, you Steve, have actually seen a number of benefits outside of just the investment dollars. You've been seeing, as you mentioned, some non-dilutive capital coming in from RBC, but you've also got some grants, I believe, that you've managed to get as well.
Yeah, that's right. So Sustainable Development Technology Canada has supported the development of us, as well as we've got IRAP support, and then also the Saskatchewan Government's Agriculture Growth Fund has also chipped in, and that's been really helpful for us because growth is expensive. And if you're funding only off internal resources, it'll really constrain what you do. And when you're building innovative sensors like us, like we do, it often can cost a lot of money. And in fact, with those companies' support, like with SDTC, IRAP, and then the Ag Growth Fund, as well as our private equity and family office support, we've been developing sensors that address more than just hydrocarbons.
Ooh, tell me more. What else have you developed? Something in the ag space, it sounds like?
Yeah, so we're quite excited. The ag space kind of happened accidentally, I'm ashamed to say. As a soil scientist, we started developing sensors for salinity impacts and trying to help people manage salt and moisture. And because for a lot of our extractive industries, saline impacts are the worst thing. I'll say as a soil scientist, I won't say you should pollute with oil, but polluting with oil is actually a lot better for the soil than polluting with salt. Nothing worse than salt. And so after we developed these sensors that allow real-time monitoring of salt and water, we kind of went, oh, who else is interested in like nutrient management and moisture? And then the obvious one was ag tech. And the great thing about Saskatchewan, Alberta, is lots of innovative farmers, working closely with people like Jeremy and Bryden with GMAX, who's now part of Simplot, as well as the FCL Agro team has really helped us develop this technology. And we're hoping that this summer, we'll be out there sort of doing some initial minimum viable product testing, making sure that we're actually delivering value to farmers, such as your dad, Jesse, who, older farmers can be a little, let's say, skeptical because they've had a lot of people promise them before. And so, MVP testing in the ag tech space is difficult because it's expensive. And you got only one shot per year. So you try to get it as right as possible. So yeah, all those supports have really enabled us to continue to explore these new markets, and as well as continuing to grow our existing portfolio for hydrocarbon and pollution management.
Amazing. Wow. Love it. Love that you've taken that win out of that TNT summit and you've just like exploded in growth in such a variety of ways. You've got extra funding coming in, you got that non-dilutive grant funding, you got new technologies being made. That's what we love to see coming out of our winners. And it's so great to get this update from you, Steven, as we head into the next head of sector summits, including an ag tech summit for the first time this year, which of course, if you hadn't won already, we would have loved to see you come in again. But why don't you give us just one quick last piece of advice for any company founders out there considering participating in the Startup TNT and sector summits?
Oh, that's easy. You should do it. It won't be a waste of time. no matter what, even if you don't win, you'll learn a lot through the process. The TNT advisors provided feedback, which you won't often get with VCs. Like if you pitch them and they think you're being stupid, they won't say anything because they're polite. They'll just walk away. TNT people, they are polite, but they're also frank and say, hey, that idea was kind of stupid. Maybe come up with something different. And you need that feedback early. You want that before you've already sunk a whole bunch of money into something. So my piece of advice, very simple, just do it.
Just do it. Nike, love it. Well, Steven, if people want to get in contact with you, learn more about the variety of technology solutions you have in the soil science space to solve their variety of problems, how can they get in touch with you?
Just reach out to us at Environmental Material Science. We're also up here on Faithful in lovely Saskatoon. For those of you who don't know, this sort of north industrial area of Saskatoon has started to boom with a whole bunch of startups because space is cheap and they let you do what you want. So that means you can invent crazy stuff, which sometimes goes crazily wrong, but that's all fine. We won't tell anyone too much about that, but yes, so come up and visit us. We're happy to walk you through, show you our sensors, and maybe you can teach us the grammar. But yes, always happy to host people, both virtually as well as in person.
Love it, Steven. And having been in that space, it's a great space. You're doing some fantastic work there. And yeah, love seeing the mad scientists getting to work in the lab. And yeah, hope you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Take care.
Thanks, Jesse.